Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting installment of the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast, The Rewind Show. I'm the franchise player, Double B Bad Blood. I am joined by the Drew Nicholas, the mixologist and sub, Mr. Chemical Julian, and Double J, Josh James, and oh boy, himself, Mr. Bones, J&J Security. Welcome to the Rewind Show. Hey, guys.
Caught me off guard there.
He's good at that.
I do that every single time.
Drew says he is the most electrifying man. Well, goddamn,
Drew. What? I'm the most... No, I'm not.
Oh, Drew.
Drew. He's like, no, I'm not.
He's like, not me.
I'm the most electrifying man. Sports podcasting. Absolutely.
Well, today, I want to talk about Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. The other night on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast, AEW Dynamite Recap, me and Julian were talking about the incredible match.
Saturday night.
The incredible WCW Saturday Night match where Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff challenged for the WCW World Television Championship against the Renegade in a match that we blinked and it was over. Let's talk about the historical career of Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. I mean, this guy was part of the very first WrestleMania. Hulk Hogan and Mr. T versus Roddy Piper and one Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. What do you guys think about that?
I'm looking forward to seeing this.
Okay.
I mean, it's the first time for me because there's not much old wrestling I've seen before.
It is.
That's why the Rewind Show was created by me and Julian.
Exactly.
We like to watch old shit.
Mr. Wonderful.
Yes, Mr. Wonderful.
Wow. Don't do that again.
Don't do that.
So, courtesy,
that's his theme song.
Courtesy of Legit Wrestling,
No,
our friend Matthew Merz when had an incredible interview with Orndorff. So we're going to tell his story through the eyes.
Like a mixture of Mickey Mouse and Howard Finkel.
Wow. Wow. So we're going to share his story through the eyes and through the eyes of one Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Let's go ahead and jump into this stream.
Very special
guy with his beautiful
legendary
mustache and his whole beard.
Of the few wrestlers in existence.
Is that like one of Young Buck's older brothers?
All three major Hall of Fames. The Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame in Wichita Falls, Texas, the WWE Hall of Fame, and the George Tragos Lou Thez Wrestling Hall of Fame in Waterloo, Iowa, as well as the University of Tampa's Hall of Fame for his incredible college football career. Paul Orndorff began wrestling professionally in 1976. And
well, thank you very much, Mr. Singh.
Electrifying ancestor. Wow.
By teaming up with Roddy
given multiple names.
To take on the duo of the immortal Hulk Hogan and beloved 80s pop culture icon Mr. T at Madison Square Garden. A main event bout that would be declared Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
You need your goddamn eyes checked.
The following year, in 1986, Mr. Wonderful would also be declared PWI's most hated wrestler of the year and win Feud of the Year for his battles with Hulk Hogan. A war that still stands as one of the most profitable feuds in
Look at the big blue bars.
I missed that page. I know wrestlers get in, but
I bet they don't.
Including becoming a
I know they don't.
Those things were not built.
An NWA World Tag Team Champion, a WCW Television Champion, and a two-time WCW World Tag Team Champion, before becoming a trainer of numerous wrestlers for Ted Turner's World Championship Wrestling. It is with great honor that I proudly present this absolutely absorbing conversation with a true legend of the squared circle. I hope you enjoy Wonderful Paul Orndorff's story just as much as I enjoyed making it.
Merch for that.
The hometown hero.
When I was 14 years old, 13 or 14, I started going to the gym.
How old are you?
It was really known for their gyms. They have really good gyms.
That's pretty good for his age.
I had a drink with him at Cauliflower Alley a couple years ago.
Tampa.
Straight, really great guy.
Smith. I joined the gym because some of my coaches told me about him, and he was Mr. America. He won all these. He was not a real big tall guy, but he was big. And I had never seen nobody like that. I mean, he had 20, 21-inch arms. His legs were huge and this and that. When I saw him, I went, I want to look like that. He took a liking to me. He knew who I was because of my football career and track. I shot put and discus and broad jumped. I held the state record for all of them. I started going to Harry's to gym, and it was about 22 miles, I think, one way to his gym. And I did that. Me and another person that could drive did that. And then when I kept going there. And then when I got to be about 16 years old, I could drive. So then I would do it. And I did that 5-6 days a week. And I've done that for years. And he really took a liking to me. And he kind of trained me and everything. And at one time, I was thinking about getting into the bodybuilding, contest because I look pretty dadgum good. But I didn't. You want to book about me and the way I was and the way I was brought up from a pig pen and what I had to wear to school and stuff. It's emotional. Lived in a trailer that was about 22 feet long, me and my dad.
Where was your mother?
Another man. Let me tell you who raised me. A neighborhood. Palm River, Florida. And they did a damn good job. I was recruited by the Navy SEALs. And Vietnam was going on then. I ain't gonna say here to tell you that I wanted to go to Vietnam, but I would have. And if I had the boom, I would have. And then the football colleges was pressuring me. Are you going? I mean, I had college all over the country. That they would fly me one weekend, I'd go, and the weekend, I'd be out there the next weekend, and the next weekend, and the next weekend, all over the country. In other words, I had to make a decision. So I went to University of Tampa. I stayed home. I played with John Matuszak, Freddie Solomon, Buddy Carter, and we were one hell of a team. We were the best small college in the country. We played big schools and beat them. We were that good because we had a bunch of wild animals on that football team, and I was one.
White people.
We were men. We were men playing a boys' game. I've had concussions and stuff, broke my neck and stuff, and I regret none of that. I mean, I'm glad I did that. And I'm glad I went to the University of Tampa. I played my football and was drafted by the New Orleans Saints.
Akin to a paper
got a
cut.
scholarship, did all this and that, whatever, all American. After the football, I got tired of
Like
it.
it's just flesh wound. Don't worry about it.
My father-in-law, Roddy Piper, was like a father to me, and my mother, Wanda, and I was married to Wanda. I was laying on the floor in their house watching TV, and wrestling came on. And I was watching the TV. I was watching that wrestling, and I hadn't really watched it because it was all fake and phony, and it just didn't look real.
You better watch your whore
I
mouth.
kept watching that. After a few weeks, I said, Ross, I can do that. I can do that. He said, because I was living with him, he said, I'll see what I can do. He said, Paul, I got a name for you that you have to call. Here's his phone number. And they said, it was Eddie Graham. Eddie Graham was the promoter in wrestling in Florida. He said, I'll give you a tryout. And that's when I met Hiro Matsuda. In a couple weeks, they called me. And they said, Paul, yeah, come down on a Saturday and be there about 12 o'clock, I think. And I did. I've been doing exercises. I've been working my legs. I've been doing all this stuff. Well, I wasn't a normal person. If it was a fist fight, I would have whipped their ass. They no doubt about it. And then I was a street fighter. I fought street fights. I fought for
Mr. Wonderful from the hood.
back then.
That's wonderful. Damn.
People that
Throwing up gang signs from the original
you
one.
the truth. But they knew how to wrestle and they knew how to hook. And they got me in some of them, and
Hey, at one point, he could have been the one that said, Hulk Hogan, I'm coming for you, Ninja. He could have
And
originated.
he would have had the street cred to do it.
They tried to do it to me.
He looked like a young Hogan.
I wasn't 6 foot
Hey,
6.
that's why Bobby Heenan
I
called him
didn't
Baby
weigh
Hogan.
300 pounds. I
Wow.
was 5'11", and I weighed 220 pounds, and I could go. After we got and everything, they said, okay, come back tomorrow. This went on for 9 months. Come back tomorrow. Come back tomorrow. What they did is had me to do these Hindu squats, and it's like this, this, except I used to jump forward and then come back and do the Hindu squat.
Tucking his
And what it
t-shirt
was,
into
it
his
made it a lot harder
sweatpants.
to
The
do.
way it should be done.
Right.
But it'll get you in shape better than anything you've ever done. Guarantee it. And I did. I was doing 5 years. I've done 1,000.
He's a big ass Hall of
I've actually
Fame ring
done
on.
1,500 of them before, without stopping. That's unreal. I'm telling you, there was nobody in this world that was better shape than I was at that time. And I weighed about 223 pounds,
Except for Ric Flair, allegedly.
and I was ripped. Even Matsuda trained me. You were going to make it, or you weren't going to make it. They said, Paul, now it's time for you to go. I can't remember all the towns, but I went there and stayed there for 3 or 4 months. I was there for 3 or 4, 6 months, and I was everywhere. And
Oh, look at Brutus
That's Brutus
Beefcake.
right there.
for about 3 years.
Brutus
Yep,
Cupcake.
Bill
okay.
Watts is a success. He really was. And I worked for him several times. I knew his family. He even let me live over there in the house, for a while. Or he had another house. He let me stay in it and didn't charge me or nothing. And I was having matches, but I guess they weren't right. I'm greener than you know what. And Bill Watts, he took me in the back somewhere.
Cowboy
said,
Bill
"Oh,
Watts.
This ain't getting it." He said, "I'm gonna give you one more day, Paul, and then I'm gonna have to let you go." And I had a family. I had a wife and I had a child. And I was saying to myself, oh my God, I was freaking out. I got one chance to be with a guy
Oh, whoa.
that's very well known in professional
I'm glad he
wrestling,
clarified that.
and that everybody that he has are good. They're really. Because he was a college wrestler. So he knew, he knew stuff. Boy. I went through hell. All broke loose.
Nothing real.
I wasn't even the same person. I was doing moves that I didn't even know I knew. I was doing slams. I was doing suplexes. I was backdropping. I was doing it all. And then after a while, he came and he said, now you can stay. That's what I wanted to see. I was starting getting my poo-poo together, and I could lead a match. I could call a match. I knew how to get heat. I knew how to take bumps, and it was working. I could be a man now and draw money. Back then, when you got into wrestling, you had got to want to love it. You can't just it ain't gonna work. Because you're traveling, you're away from your family, you're this and that, and I was away from my kids, and it was tearing me up. And it wanted me to be away from my kids, you're gonna pay me or I'm gone. And I could have went anywhere in the world I wanted to. Anywhere. I went to Japan many times. You got to have experience. And when I said I went every 6 to 7, 8 months to another state, I went there and worked with other guys. So I learned how to do things that they did. And that's how you learn. You learn by going to different things and doing it for several months with different people. And then when you get right, when you got it all together and you poo-poo is right, then you go to the big places. New York and Vince McMahon.
Right.
Brother, back when I was doing it, if you were the main event in Madison Square Garden, you were in top of the world right there. That made you. You know, we were getting 30, 40, 50, 60. Me and Hogan worked at, I believe it was San Francisco. We had 80-something people there. And I've been the main event, the first WrestleMania. Roddy Piper, there's Hulk Hogan and Mr. T. You gotta have a little showbiz, man. I don't care. But you gotta know how to do it. And I used to be a heel. I was an asshole. People hated me, and I'm one of them to hate me. Because I do whatever it took.
I strive for that daily.
I do whatever it
Yo,
took
that's the best.
for
I hate
somebody
you,
not
bro.
to like me. Because the more I'm...
This is
You're
the
the
best
bad
one.
guy? Oh my God, it's so
Feed
much.
off
care
of that.
about the
Yeah.
after effects of it.
Feed off.
It was brutal. I mean, I've had my tires cut. I've had my windows broken out of my car. I got a whiskey
That only
bottle
means
in the
you're doing
room.
it right.
Somebody threw in a little whiskey and hit me.
Had the pepper
Got
spray
20
action.
stitches, right?
Oh,
Right up in here. When that happened, I was one pissed off man. I said, ain't no damn body's gonna do that without me popping their butt. Cops and stuff wasn't doing what they were supposed to do, and then the fans were going crazy. They went to see me get my butt beat by you. You could be big and everything, and then if you had to get in a fight, and I got in a lot of fights when I was up in New York, but people didn't like me, and if they tried to, with me or something, hey, let's get it on, and it would happen, boom. And I've had it happen more than once. It got to the point where I had to take a cab, and then it got to the point I had to take a police car from Madison Square Garden and different places where I went in a police car. I have taken cabs there and that, and then once they found out that the cab or whatever, I couldn't do it. They tried to shake the car to flip it over. You wouldn't believe it. The people went cuckoo. But you know it, the more they did it, the more money I made. You know what people don't like? The truth. Tell me somebody. Tell me.
Julie,
That somebody had
saying,
a
oh,
better
listen,
body.
that's why I don't like bad guys, because they tell the truth.
They had a whole head of hair. And that could be pissed off and showed it. I had it all. And I know I had it all.
I had it
I
all.
know it. But my paycheck
Except you
showed
didn't
it.
have a hot manager.
They're to me to this day. They say that they still go to the gym. And
That's why they didn't want
all
Ricky
this
Steamboat's
and whatever in there.
wife to come out.
It did make an impact. It did. Some people don't like me. That's okay. I don't like them neither. That's the way I am.
The hot round in the highway.
Did it freeze?
Or not.
Right. No doubt about it. He taught me the psychology which I needed to really learn. And there was nobody better than Roddy Piper when it comes to psychology. And why am I doing this? There's a reason why. And he had it down pat. It just came to him because he was smart. When it came to that, he was smart. There was not a better talker. His interviews were the best. He was very emotional when he had to be. He knew how to control the crowd. That's the key. Is to control those 8-to-5ers out there that make $2.25 an hour. To control them and not like what you do. And if you can do that, they're going to bring their friends, and their friends are going to bring their friends. And before you know it, everybody is going to the wrestling and they're selling it out. It's because of the psychology of it. And the guys that were doing it, it's a special type of person. They're not here no more. There was some back then, but there wasn't a lot. But we had promoters and stuff that knew what they were doing. Me and Roddy, we were together. And we were headed somewhere down the road. The traffic was so daggum bad that, my God, to go from the airport to a hotel, which is 5 miles away, might take you 35, 40 minutes to get there. I'm not built
It's
that
like me
way.
driving to my job every day.
I got so mad. And Roddy was
You have a
egging me
405?
on. I started doing the
I'm
damn
it's like
steering wheel.
3.5
I broke the
miles
whole
away, and
damn
it takes over
ripped
30
the whole
minutes.
column thing off, and we were like just pulled into the parking lot, and I had to get a record the next day. I freaked out, and he kept egging me on, and it worked because he did it so damn. He did it so good. I hate to see him dead. It's emotional to me. He was my buddy. He helped me so much. If it hadn't been for him, I don't know if I'd been Mr. Wonderful. Roddy Piper was the smartest guy that I've ever known in wrestling. Anybody. Because he used his brain more than anybody. And I hate to see people die. I mean, when they're your friend. I went to his funeral and everything. Cried like a baby.
When did he get
Started coming up
a
there.
pinched
started
nerve in his
climbing
arm?
that mountain. And
During,
finally,
I think after his rivalry with Hogan,
Ted Turner
Okay.
called me.
it just got worse when he went to WCW.
I met him. Went to the office and met him and everything. He gave me a weekly salary. A damn good weekly salary. Atlanta did good. We were good. I mean, we sold out too at the Army. I mean, we sold it out, but it always had good crowds. I mean, good crowds, a good payday is what I call it. Because I did it for the money. I loved the business. I loved everything that I've done about it.
He worked
But
for
when
free.
it all boils down to it, I ain't gonna just love it for $50. I want what I was worth. And that's the bottom line. People say, oh, that's cocky or this or that. No, it is. If you're worth $500 or $600 a night, and they're only giving you $150, that promoter's getting rich. And that ain't right. It's okay for him to get rich. But how about you? That ain't right. That's why there's no more wrestling. Ted Turner, I ended up working for him for about 8 or 9 years. And after I got through the wrestling pretty much, then he wanted me to train people, train wrestlers. So I started training them.
Oh, that's when he
And
was
a
good.
lot of them went in to be good professionals. Damn good, because I taught them the way I was taught. And the way I was taught it wasn't easy. It wasn't like it is. That's why there's no more wrestling now. Because these guys go, oh, I want to be a wrestler. Okay. And then they throw them in the ring and they can't even tie their boots. They don't know how. When I got out there, when I quit, that hurt. And they know it. And if I was there now, they would be doing okay. There's a lot of psychology into wrestling. Because you do things for a reason, and the way I was taught. If I do this, well, I'm doing it for a reason for this. And I'm doing this for a reason for that. And you have to do, that's how I was taught. And it ain't easy. But the stuff they do now is a joke. Anybody can pick somebody up and slam them. You can backdrop them. You can suplex them. I can suplex you. I can drop toe hold you. I can do all this and that. That's easy. But you got to do it at the right time. You know what I mean? It's just like football. Football, there's psychology in football too, because I played pro football. When some of the things they do and everything, in the quarter, and then that last quarter is when you see all hell break loose. And that's when you see that, stuff start really happening, you pick it up. It's the same way. There's psychology in every sport there is. It's a lost art. I know it. There's a few other people that do know it. But yet, you'd have to pay them to do it. And I ain't doing it for nothing for nobody. And
Hey,
you gotta
that's
have
the
the
bills
talent.
to
You gotta
pay.
have the right
Yeah.
people. You gotta have freaks.
Just like everybody else.
Wrestling is nothing but freaks. And back in my day with Hogan and Piper and golly, the Valentines and just people, like that, it didn't get no better. It probably will never ever be seen like that again. I don't think. I wish it would for the wrestlers' sake, so they can make a good living. The TV is so good now, and there's so much of it. If it was like the way it was when we were doing it in the 80s and right there towards the middle of the 90s, it'd be huge. But you know what happens too? They overdo it. Because you get people that don't really know what to doing when it comes to the matches, when it comes to what they're doing in the matches, because they think if you flip-flop, that's a match. It ain't a match. It's a psychology. It's just like a movie show. If you watch a movie show that's any good, they have a psychology. What they do in the beginning, what they do here, what they do there, what they do at half, and then comes the last 5 or 10 minutes of the TV show. NCIS is my favorite show. Gibbs. I watch it every day of the week.
He's a real
Law
one
and
for that.
Order.
Yeah.
I watch it. But NCIS is the best show on TV in my book.
Just newfound respect for
Nothing
that, man.
compares to it. Because they do it
He's
pretty
a
damn
Law and Order
good.
king, just like me.
All of them do. And she's pretty good looking too. What you gotta have is a guy like Trump that's so wealthy that he's
Okay,
willing.
now, can I retract what I just said?
No.
No, you already said it.
Oh, shit.
But we're talking about money,
I'll
not
let you
if
do
we
it.
like the
And I'll
guy.
tell you why.
Hopefully.
I get to see people that watched me when I was there,
Love
and now they bring their kids out of 20-something, 25, 28 years old, and they remember me when they were still pooping in the diaper. And they say, I remember you, Mr. Wonderful. And I hear them like that, and I just, and then take a picture with the girl, their kids, or this or that. Man, it don't get no better. I'll get you upset now.
Oh, that's the end. Is it?
Yeah.
Matthew Merz.
Matthew Merz.
Yeah. Mr. Wonderful was.
And Mr. Gregor Pedro, Sean, Juan, all the peoples.
Special
Very
thanks
nice.
to
That was a nice watch.
Oh,
Legit Pro Wrestling.
I gotta
That was
say, I
fun
got where's
No
okay, there we
No
go.
music.
I was gonna say,
Hey.
yeah, I gotta say it was.
We can see you.
It was.
yeah, but
very
it was
blurry.
blurry.
What I particularly love are stories about wrestlers from wrestlers when they get emotional. That's just that really, especially when they've touched their lives in such a way that Piper did for Paul Orndorff.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
nice. It's really nice to see stuff like that, and you know, because you are on the road with so many people
You're
for
with
so many years. It's good to know that you can develop such a relationship like that with somebody.
Mhm. Yeah, Paul Orndorff, he was like, I remember like renting old wrestling VHS tapes back then, and just seeing what he was doing, being the bad guy, made me hate him and all that kind of stuff. Like he said, he was good at making people hate him.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love listening to
strive for
stories.
that.
Yeah, I love listening to stories when former heels like back then saying like we literally had to run for our lives and all, or get out of the vehicle, get into police cars and all. I'm like, it's such interesting stories just to listen to stuff like that.
Yeah, Paul Orndorff, and for back then, I would probably say like a big three or big four rather in heel work.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Paul Orndorff, Piper, Ric Flair, Nick Bockwinkel.
Yeah,
They had some really, really awesome heel work.
yeah, very true. I agree with you on that one, and and it's a shame that his career ended early, but is like what Julian said, it's from his shoulder. Is that what you said?
He had a pinched nerve in his.
Pinch nerve.
He ended up with muscle atrophy in his arm.
Mm.
I know that for sure. And I think it was a pinched nerve in his shoulder or his back, something like that.
Yeah, he got, for what I've heard, he got injured. His rivalry with Hogan, it's just because his body was just hurting and damaged. And it just got worse with the rivalry with Hogan because he chose to have the rivalry with Hogan instead of getting rehab.
Yep.
Yeah, he worked through a lot of injury and just like kept going.
Blood, you've met Paul Orndorff, right? You've met him.
Yeah.
What was he like for you? Like when you got to meet him?
Very, very nice guy. Like down to earth. Like we were at Cauliflower Alley. We got a drink. He just hung out in the bar and talked to the younger guys, and was just like, shit. I mean, just like a regular Joe Blow. Like guy had so many great stories, so polite. You know, it was like wow. Like you know that whole saying, never meet your idols. Never meet your heroes. Well,
Yeah.
he was one of those guys that you can meet and was actually really nice. Like
Yeah,
took the
like a
time to
lovely
talk to
person,
everybody.
just from
Yeah,
the
he was a great person. Like, you know, rest in peace. You know, he died 2012 or something like that.
Yeah.
He died, I believe, 2021.
Yeah, something. It was really recently.
That was
like,
recent.
Yeah, he was a good guy, very good guy.
Hey, does anybody know why is Lex Luger in a wheelchair?
Oh, I recently just watched the documentary about that. I think it was just from his body, all the years.
All the physical abuse.
Yeah, it just gave up.
Do you mean like in ring or injected?
In general, like the ring, drugs, whatever.
Everything that goes along with the territories.
Yeah.
Territory.
And like
Wow.
I remember he was saying
Don't
like
do
he
it.
was on a plane. I think he was heading to a show or a meet and greet. I don't remember, but on the airplane he was like on there for like I think like maybe for 5 hours. I don't remember, and he was just like this whole entire time, talking to his friend, and his neck was like this through the whole entire time. And when he finally got to the hotel, next thing you know, his body just shut.
He decided to go, yeah, enough of that.
It was even at the point that Sting was helping him out. Even Sting even had to feed him because he couldn't move any of his body.
Yeah.
But now he's able to move, but not as well like he used to. But he could move his arms. He still could do meet and greets.
Is he with DDP? Is he doing the yoga or is he like beyond that?
I don't recall
Doing
seeing
DDP yoga.
him in any DDP.
Butterbean's doing DDP yoga right now with DDP.
Well, that's cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you really enjoy this quick stream, the Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff story. every now and then, or my Roundtable Rewind, where we will bring up like stories like this, stories about Bruiser Brody, like Josh and I did before. We have a story coming up with the Martha, the sister of the Hearts. Yeah, we have a lot of really great stuff coming up on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. So why don't you guys do us a favor and join us with Really Awful Wrestling later on tonight. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us here, and we will see you when we see you.
Deuces.